Just trying to recap of the previous class. In the last class, we discussed irregular verbs. There are about 4 or 5 types of irregular verbs, and we picked up with Hona. Complicated topic, so we'll take few classes to finish it. Okay, and the objective, for the last class was like we started with, different forms of Hona in the past tense. Okay, for masculine, when you're using the object which is like masculine singular, you will use hua. If it is masculine plural, you will use hue. If it is feminine singular, you will see hui, and then if it is feminine plural, you will say hue. Okay, and we'll look at it in terms of examples as well. Okay, so to give you a rough idea about what the layout for this class will be, first half of the class, I hope the broadcast is clear now on Facebook. Again, the class is divided into 4 segments. In the first half, we will talk about the recap. So if there's still any questions or confusions or unclarity about where to use hua, hue, and hui, we can still talk about that. In the second half, we will talk about the popular phrases, popular Hindi phrases with hua and other types. Okay. In the third segment, we'll talk about Hindi vocabulary. Okay, and in the fourth segment, it's like a Hindi story. Hindi story that has, where I have tried to, use hua and the other forms of hua significantly. So this is basically will force you to read again and again those sentences. Okay, this will also help you understand how this can be used and the repetition basically. So let me just do a quick check to make sure the video is good on the Facebook side. Okay, if someone can confirm the audio, that'll be really great on the Facebook side. All right, so let's just do the recap part first, and then we'll keep going after that. Okay, so the part 1, and those of you who already gone through the last class, definitely, and you can get more engaged and participate. Okay, and ask as many questions as possible as well. So for those of you who are new to the topic, when we talk about Hona is like, to happen or to be. Primarily, it is, wherever there's a notion of something is happening or you're describing a state of something, or, whenever it's basically the to be form of the word. Okay, you can think of that as Hona. Now, when you want to use the same thing in the past tense, okay, you will basically, wherever there's a notion of happened, okay, or the notion of became or got, you will say, hua, hue, hui, and hui. So this is where Hindi is a bit complicated and different than English and other languages. In English, it is pretty straightforward for you. You can simply say happened. You don't have to worry about the form of the subject you're using. Okay. For example, if it rained, you will simply say it rained. Okay. In Hindi, you have to really see whether rain is considered masculine or feminine. Okay. If you got sick, you will simply say I got sick. Okay. But in Hindi, it will vary. Whether the guy is getting sick or a girl is getting sick. Okay. Or a group of guys are getting sick or a group of girls are getting sick. And that's what basically changes the sentences. And that's what this part is a bit tricky. There are other areas in Hindi which are simpler than English, right? But this one is like, so that's where you need a little bit more exercise, and that's why uh, Hona can be a bit tricky to use. Okay, so we'll start with both the notions, and then you will hopefully it will be much clearer than last class. Okay, so for example, in English, as I mentioned, it should be very simple for you if you say it rained yesterday. Okay, or it snowed yesterday. You don't really have to worry about the gender of rain or snow in English. Okay, but in Hindi you have to worry about it. Okay, so take it as an exercise for those of you who already been through last class. And in the meantime, let me just see if there are any other questions. While we are making progress. Okay, no questions. Okay, good. So for those of you who've been to the class, you should be able to really see how to use hua to convert these sentences into Hindi. Okay, and if you don't know, there are formulas to figure out whether rain is masculine or feminine. Okay, so you can simply say kya masculine hai, or kya any object that you're trying to determine, you can say kya ye masculine hai or kya ye feminine hai. Okay, um, in this case I'll keep it simple. Barish, rain is barish. Okay, and that's feminine. Okay, so you will say, so rain is barish and yesterday is kal. Yesterday is kal. In Hindi, tomorrow is also kal, but it really determines how you are, writing the sentence. And the verb conjugation will basically determine whether you used kal in the past. You're referring to kal as a past or as a future. Okay. So when you say it rained yesterday, you will say kal barish, and then I'm gonna keep it blank for you. Very good, right? So as you know, hui spelling can be a little bit tricky, right? I mean, in the textbook, they consistently use it as hui. Okay, but you are right. I know what exactly you're thinking. So think of it as like kal barish hui, which is basically referring to feminine singular. Okay. Similarly, if you want to say it snowed yesterday, it will be kal snow, and you will say hui. Okay. Now, it's not fair to translate these sentences in English, because even if you want to do it, it may not make sense, but literally the translation is, rain. Literally the translation is rain, and then you are trying to say happened yesterday. But that's not how you say it in English. You'll say it rained yesterday. Okay. But just to kind of give you the hidden happen in Hindi, that's how it is working. Similarly here, snow happened yesterday. Okay, that's how, if you were to translate from this form of English to Hindi, then probably it will make sense. But in English, that's grammatically incorrect, but in Hindi, this is correct. Okay, there's a happened there. Okay. So let's keep on building on top of it. We'll look at more examples of how, wherever there's a notion of happened, you will use the form of hua. Okay. Similarly, if there was a smoke yesterday, okay, and for example, there was a fire, and there was a smoke all over, you'll say dhua hua. Okay, smoke. Dhua is nothing but smoke. And for those of you who are more into Devanagari, धुआं हुआ. Okay, smoke happened. Okay. So I want to give more and more examples of hua, so you can, you hear it again and again and you get better at it. Similarly, let's say you are running late, okay, and delay happened. Can you think about how you will say that in Hindi? Delay, delay, and you won't say in English that, you just say that it got delayed, or I was delayed. You will not say delay happened to. Give it a try. Okay, so I'll answer that. So delay is nothing but there. There, you can say there hona, but in the past form you will say there hui. And the way you write it in Devanagari, you will say there, okay, and you will say there hui. Okay, and in English you will say, I got delayed. Okay, so basically you can say I got delayed, and in literally the parallel form of Hindi is like, to me delay happened. To me delay happened. मुझको देर हुई. Okay, मुझको delay. That's fine too. You can say delay also, but you'll say मुझको देर हुई. Okay. So I hope this is making sense. Try to, wherever there is a, as I mentioned, for the most part, wherever there is a notion of, like, or forms of hui or hona, in the past you will see that, either we are referring to, happen, the past of happen, or also like got or became. Okay, so let's continue to have more examples. So um, similarly, let's say, you want to make you want to say that, um, a problem happened to you. Okay, problem happened to you, you will say problem hui. I mean, sometimes you use English words also, but in this case you can say pareshani, pareshani hui. Sorry, I'm just gonna use exactly pareshani hui. Okay, परेशानी हुई. So you can say मुझको परेशानी हुई or उनको परेशानी हुई. They face some problem, or Okay. Similarly, let's say you want to say that, they got cold. Okay, and in this case I'm using cold as jukham. Okay, can you guys think of how do you translate this sentence in Hindi? I've given you half of the hint already. You know the word for cold. So only thing which is remaining is, like, the form of Hona. So give it a try. I'm gonna check on the Facebook side as well. So far, good number of people have joined on the Facebook front. Please feel free to share it with your other friends as well. They got cold. Okay, so uh, cold is a masculine singular. Now give it a try. So just to be clear, it's not about the form of they. It's the form of object here. Okay. So you'll say उनको जुकाम हुआ. Okay, उनको जुकाम हुआ. Okay, yeah, very good. उनको जुकाम हुआ. Okay. We have more and more quizzes here. So let's say um, they had or the another example is they had stomach ache. Or let's say, why don't I make it simple? He had stomach ache. Now your task is to translate this sentence in Hindi. As I mentioned, there's no negative marking, so feel free to give it a try. So जुकाम is masculine singular riji, so that's why it's it will be उनको जुकाम हुआ. And because you're using ko, वे becomes उनको, right? You will use the oblique case. So give it a try. He had stomach ache. And if you don't know the Hindi word for it, you can simply say stomach ache. Okay, very good. Where stomach? Okay. So we'll fix it, right? So I mean, so stomach ache. Stomach is pet, and ache is dard. Okay, and it's again like it's happening to him, right? To him. So there is a to also, right? So if you remember when we learned the post position, we learned that he is wah. Okay, and basically you're trying to say that pain happened to him. So you say pain wah plus ko, the post position. Okay, and then you'll say pet dard हुआ. Because dard is masculine singular. Okay, so you'll say उसको पेट दर्द हुआ. And for those of you who are more into Devanagari, you will say उसको, and you will say पेट दर्द, and then you say ha with u, with ha. उसको पेट दर्द हुआ. Okay. Feel free to ask me any questions. We're not in a rush. So if any questions you may have, I'll still be able to cover that. Okay. Okay. We'll do a couple of more. So the next one I have for you is she got sick. She got sick. And again, you can say that there's a, you can also say she became sick. There's a notion of got or became. Okay. So how do you translate this in Hindi? And so for the benefit of everyone, you will say bimar. Sorry, you will say bimar is sick. And bimar is feminine singular. Hopefully this should give you enough clues. No. So look at it again. There's no. I know the confusion. Why are we using post position there but not here? But in this case, she became sick. There's a way we can say using post position also, but so there's a way you can say sickness happened to her, which is completely fine. Okay, but in this case, you simply think, okay, very good, right? So let's see if other people how they attempted it. Okay, So I know the common confusion here. Good. So the way you will say it in Hindi is, as I said, it's a feminine singular. There are two ways you can say that. One is like which most of you are thinking, like sickness happened to her. Okay. So in this case, you will say वह plus ko, which is usko. Okay. And then you will use the, bimari. Bimar is sort of a verb, and bimari you will say is like usko bimari hui. That's one way to use it. Usko bimari hui. Right? So bimari is nothing but sickness. Sickness happened to her. Okay. But if you don't want to use it in a way of sickness, and if you simply want to say sick, right? So you will say वह बीमार हुई. So this one is sickness. Okay, so that's and this one is sick. So it's the same as like khush versus khushi, happy versus happiness, right? I mean, so sad versus sadness. So that's the difference. Okay, just to be clear, both of them are grammatically correct. You can use either. Okay, so I hope the topic is still a bit complicated, but I hope it's still getting better and better. I'll do one more examples, and we'll jump to the second section, right? Um, Another quiz is like she had a baby, she had a girl or a baby girl, right? Um, I'll just give you an answer, and for those of you who are advanced, you can try it before me. So basically, you'll say she had a baby. Okay, had a baby is nothing but you'll say ladki hui. Okay, ladki hui, feminine singular. Okay, and usko ladki hui. Okay, usko ladki hui, or you can say Stephanie ko ladki hui, or So I hope this is making sense. We'll jump to the next section of the class, which is the popular phrases. Okay, as I mentioned, this is the part two of the class. Part two is like there are some phrases which you still be using different forms of Hona. Uh, but they may not make sense from grammatical perspective. They may or may not. But you should really remember them and use them as often as possible, especially wherever it makes sense. Okay. So some of you remember, right? I mean, like in the last class, um, we discussed them. So whenever you meet someone and you want to say nice to meet you or good to meet you, the equivalent in Hindi is आपसे मिलकर खुशी हुई. Okay, खुशी is happiness. Okay, basically you're trying to say happiness happened to me after meeting you. Okay, you can say also say मैं खुश हुआ. Okay, so just remember this one, आपसे मिलकर खुशी हुई, and you can see that there's a use of हुई. Okay, very popular phrase. Write it down. You should remember it any moment, and use it whenever you meet someone you're learning, and you can practice your Hindi. Okay, another one. What time it is. Anyone remember how to say that in Hindi? What time is it is? I'm gonna take a pause here to turn around and see if some of you already know. So Jason, don't worry about it. Even I was late. So the question here is, how do you say what time it is? Okay, simple thing, but we never covered it, right? I mean, so it will be time or समय क्या हुआ है. Time क्या हुआ है. You see it being used very often. So just memorize that as well. Time क्या हुआ है. Okay, it probably is difficult to see the notion of happen or became in this sentence, but it means what time it is. Okay, third popular phrase, especially if you're shopping in India and you want to negotiate, okay, how much it is, or not how much it is, but how much it is like kitne ka hai, right? I mean, and when you want to say it informally, like give me the total of like everything basically. So it will be basically kitna hua. Kitna is how much. So what it means is like let's say you went for a shopping and you bought number of items XYZ, number of miscellaneous items, right? And then towards the end you go to the cashier and you like kitna hua, like basically what you're implying is like tell me how much is the total basically of everything that I bought. Okay, kitna hua. Remember it. And the next popular phrase, so again I'm underlining hua. Okay, the fourth one I have is acha hua. Acha hua. Anyone can tell me where do we use acha hua? Give it a try. Have you heard people using acha hua? It can be used in a positive way as well as in a malicious manner. So if you're ill intentioned for something, you can people use that as well. People on the Facebook side, if they have guessed it. Jason, good question. Kitne will come back to it. I'll respond to you in a comment. That is correct. You can say samay kya hai. You can use that, but samay kya hai is like it can also be a philosophical, right? I mean, what is time or what is life? In that context, it can be philosophical. But if you really want to say what time it is, you can say समय क्या हुआ है. Okay. So that is correct. Like whenever you're saying अच्छा हुआ, it's basically you will say it in like if something let's say happened, like so hypothetical example. Let's say there's a game plan tomorrow between two teams, and team A is the very good team, but one of their star player he got sick. Okay, and team A is very worried about the game. Okay, and to their benefit it started raining. Okay, and the game got postponed, and they did because they really wanted their captain to be in the team, right? And the star player in the team, and because it rained, the game got postponed. And all of a sudden, team A players are like, "Acha hua," good that like the game got postponed. We have another opportunity. Acha hua. So sometimes you can say, basically not well done, but like good that it happened. Good that it happened. Something happened and you think it's for good. You can use acha hua. Okay. You can also say acha nahi hua. For something which is like let's say some of your friend they got injured when they were driving to work. You can say, oh, acha nahi hua. Okay, a very popular phrase. Definitely pay attention when people are using it, and you will notice it being used. Okay, next one, bahut hua. Bahut hua. Any idea? Bahut hua. Um, bahut hua is nothing but enough. Okay, so again, hypothetically, let's say you were working with a boss or your manager, very micromanaging you, asking you this every 15 minutes. Okay, and it is basically crossing your threshold. You'll say बहुत हुआ. That's it, बहुत हुआ. Enough. I'm changing my job, or I'm doing something else, or I'm complaining, right? So I'm just making it up, but बहुत हुआ is like enough, right? I mean, I heard enough from you. I'm gonna do something, right? So whenever there's a notion of enough, you can say enough in the sense of like a lot of information or like a lot of pressure. Okay. Um, Even in the sense like some places in India, especially like where Arsh comes from, Gujarat, they are known for their hospitality, right? And they'll keep on serving you food, lots of food, right? And you'll say, "Oh, bahut hua, bahut khaya maine," right? I mean, so that can also be used. Hua. Next one, popular phrase. Um, so if you remember in the last class, we remembered it. We kind of covered it. All the interrogatives. So I think I'm going to erase it and I'm going to cover the sixth one. So all the other thing that we learned in last class, where you are using all the interrogatives with, with hua, all of them are important. So basically, kya hua, what happened, kab hua, when did this happen? I'm gonna count it as sixth popular phrase. Kab hua, kyun hua, kyun hua, why did this happen? Kaise, how did this happen? And similarly, it's not interrogative, but kuch hua, something happened, kuch hua. Okay, something happened. Okay. Next one is like basically more from the Hindi movies, right? I mean, so you will see that this being used quite commonly, right? Mujhko, and they'll say pyar hua. Okay. To me, love happened. Right? Mujhko pyar hua. Okay. So this is seventh popular phrase. So definitely encourage all of you to make sure you remember this list. There might be other as well, but I reflected a lot on it, and I came up with at least these seven popular phrases. And if I remember more, we'll definitely cover more in the future classes. But remember these, and you will feel much more confident while using hua. So let me see if there are any questions on the Facebook side as well. Okay, so good. Um, we are a bit late to start. We started the class a little bit late, so the story that I have, it might go a little longer, at least 5 minutes longer. But I'll still try to wrap it up. So hope this will be, the story will be very helpful for you. Okay. Um, so because of that, I'm not going to spend too much time on the vocabulary part, the third section of the class. Okay, and there are only 5 vocabulary words, but we'll be very quick while we are doing the vocabulary. Okay, so we can spend more time on the story. The first vocabulary that I have is crop. Like let's say you're harvesting something, crop. What's crop in Hindi? For those of you who already know, you can definitely attempt it. The next one is heavy. Heavy or hefty in this case. You will see the use of, purposely I tried to use heavy in a different way, hefty. Okay, the next one I have is loss. Okay, uh, next one is insurance, and fifth one I have is upset. Upset, we've already covered it. So these are the 5 new vocabulary words will be learning in Hindi today. Upset, we've already kind of covered it. Pareshan, pareshan, and the way you write it is pa, and then re, sha with and pareshan. The rest of the 4 probably are new to you. So for those of you who are already familiar, definitely give it a try. Don't worry about the order. Okay. Crop is nothing but like fasal, fasal. Okay, and the way you write it is like your fa, sa, la. Okay, fasal. So, for example, let's say a farmer is talking to another farmer and he wants to say, okay, I had a good season. Like, he can say fasal achhi hui, that I had a good, crop. Fasal achhi hui. Okay, fasal. Okay. Um, Next one, heavy or hefty. I'm trying to use it in the sense of bhari. Bhari. Bhari is heavy, right? You're lifting some stuff and it's heavy. You can say यह भारी है. Okay, यह भारी है. Okay. Another way to use it is like, let's say you suffered, hefty losses. Okay, you can say bhari losses. Or the next one, bhari nuksan. So in the story that I have, I purposely used the word called bhari nuksan. Bhari literally means heavy, but when you say bhari nuksan or heavy losses, it means basically the hefty losses that I'm talking about, right? So you'll have a na with u, ka, and then sa, nuksan. Okay, nuksan. And the last one is nothing but insurance is bima, bima. Okay, so let's say you want to talk about crop insurance, it would be fasal bima. Okay, uh, you want to talk about health insurance, health is swasthya bima, right? That's how you kind of make it, right? So the story that I have, it took me some time to put it together. It might come across like I'm doing an advertisement of crop insurance, but the whole purpose of the story is nothing but to kind of give you the flavors of how to use hua, hui, hue, and hui. Okay, so the different forms of hona. Okay, so we'll get started with the story. Um, for some of you, you may find it a bit difficult, but try to read it. I mean, the whole purpose of the next 15 minutes is for you to kind of immerse into Hindi language. Okay, and as I'm writing the story, I want you to read it again and again. Okay, so next 15 minutes I won't be using any English here, and you will simply be forced to go through the story. And as I'm writing it, I want you to read it, and I want you to start translating it as well. Okay, so here we go. उस हफ्ते उस हफ्ते बहुत बारिश हुई. ओके, उस हफ्ते बहुत बारिश हुई और रमेश का रमेश का भारी नुकसान हुआ. ओके, उस हफ्ते बहुत बारिश हुई और रमेश का भारी नुकसान हुआ. रमेश परेशान हुआ. रमेश परेशान हुआ और रोने लगा. ओके, रमेश परेशान हुआ और रोने लगा. You'll have किशोर. किशोर, अरे रमेश, अरे रमेश, तुमको क्या हुआ है. किशोर इज सेइंग, अरे रमेश, तुमको क्या हुआ है? रमेश, मेरा, और आदर, मेरी फसल, मेरी फसल का बहुत नुकसान नुकसान हुआ है। रमेश, मेरी फसल का बहुत नुकसान हुआ है किशोर। ओके, एंड नाउ किशोर, किशोर, मुझको जानकर दुख हुआ। मुझको जानकर दुख हुआ। ओके, अगेन किशोर, किशोर, क्या क्या तुमने फसल बीमा फसल बीमा लिया था? क्या तुमने फसल बीमा लिया था? ओके, आई रीड इट अगेन, क्या तुमने फसल बीमा लिया था? If something is unclear, let me know. Okay, I'm writing small so it is possible. It's not visible. क्या तुमने फसल बीमा लिया था? रमेश, हाँ, लिया तो था। लिया तो था। ओके, किशोर, तो तुम दुखी तो तुम दुखी मत हो। अंदर फॉर्म, तो तुम दुखी मत हो। बीमा कंपनी बीमा कंपनी तुम्हारी बीमा कंपनी तुम्हारी मदद करेगी। ओके, रमेश, तुम्हारा बहुत धन्यवाद किशोर। तुम्हारा बहुत धन्यवाद किशोर। So that ends our story. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna read it very slowly now, and then I'm gonna read it as a Devanagari, as a native speaker. The purpose is so you hear it as as so that it reflects the emotions behind the story. Okay, so just hear me out very carefully, and stop me, or ask me any questions if something is not clear. Okay, and I'll take questions and then we'll jump to the interpretation of the story. उस हफ्ते बहुत बारिश हुई और रमेश का भारी नुकसान हुआ। रमेश परेशान हुआ और रोने लगा। किशोर, अरे रमेश, तुमको क्या हुआ है? रमेश, मेरी फसल का बहुत नुकसान हुआ है। किशोर, मुझको जानकर दुख हुआ. किशोर अगेन. क्या तुमने फसल बीमा लिया था? रमेश. हाँ, लिया तो था. किशोर. तो तुम दुखी मत हो, बीमा कंपनी तुम्हारी मदद करेगी. ठीक है. रमेश अगेन. तुम्हारा बहुत धन्यवाद किशोर. Now I will read it as a native speaker. Hear me out again. And any questions you may have before we jump to the interpretation, I'm going to take questions from you guys. Okay. You are open to ask any question there. So, as a native speaker, उस हफ्ते बहुत बारिश हुई और रमेश का भारी नुकसान हुआ. रमेश परेशान हुआ और रोने लगा. किशोर. अरे रमेश, तुमको क्या हुआ है? रमेश. मेरी फसल का बहुत नुकसान हुआ है किशोर. किशोर. मुझको जानकर दुख हुआ. अगेन किशोर. क्या तुमने फसल बीमा लिया था? रमेश. हाँ, लिया तो था. किशोर. तो तुम दुखी मत हो, बीमा कंपनी तुम्हारी मदद करेगी और बीमा कंपनी वाले तुम्हारी मदद करेंगे. okay? रमेश. तुम्हारा बहुत धन्यवाद किशोर. Okay? So it was a bit difficult. Lots of use of Hona, Hua. Okay. I'm going to open it up for any questions. So first question is, what is Jankar? Okay. So very good question. Remember, there is use of kar here. Okay. The two verbs are getting added. Janna, it's to know. Okay. And when you're putting Jankar, you're saying after knowing this. Okay. After becoming aware of this, dukh hua. I'm not going to tell you the English word meaning of it, but basically Kishore is saying mujhko jankar, after becoming aware of the situation, dukh hua, mujhko dukh hua. Okay, I hope this is clear. Okay, any questions on the Facebook side on the story before we start? Did you take store insurance? Okay, so it's basically a fasal bima. Fasal is a crop. Okay, so it's talking about, you know, crop insurance. Okay, and heavy. Okay, the next question I have is here. Um, bhari nuksan. You remember we did that. Bhari is heavy in general, but in this case, you're talking about heavy, and then this is nuksan is loss. So you're talking about hefty losses. Okay, hefty losses. Any more questions? Feel free to keep them coming. It's important that you ask questions so that each and everything makes sense to you. So feel free to type it. Any questions on the Facebook side? Okay. Liz, any more question? This was clear. Jankar? Jankar, it's clear, right? Khakar. Remember, we learned this thing, khakar, after eating, like मैं TV, मैं खाना खाकर TV देखूंगी. Like after eating, I will, watch the TV. Similarly, मुझको जानकर दुख हुआ. That, after listening to this or after hearing you, I got, sad or something, right? So I hope this is clear. Now what we'll do, I'm going to unmute each of you and I'm going to ask you to, panelists to kind of dissect the story. So we'll start with Anyas. You want to go first? So let me unmute you. So read the first 3 or 4 lines. I think you have to increase your volume probably. I can't hear you. Are you muted? I can hear you now.
This
Yeah, I can hear you now. So read the first.
me?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Us after Bahut Barish Hui. This week It rained a lot.
Us hafte. Us is that week. Okay. And
That week.
yeah, this week is hafte. Okay. Hafte is
Okay,
when
okay.
hafta is a week. That's right. Okay. Go for it.
Yeah. So that week it rained a
Hmm?
lot. और रमेश का भारी मुस्कान हुआ
Nuksan ho.
and
It's
sorry
N as in Nancy.
nu,
Nuksan hua.
नुकसान हुआ, yeah. And the and Ramesh crop had been a big loss.
That
How do you
is right.
say?
But basically, Ramesh ka bhari nuksan hua. That Ramesh had heavy losses, or Ramesh, had hefty losses.
Okay. Ramesh परेशान हुआ और रोने लगा.
Hmm?
Ramesh was very upset
Hmm?
and felt I don't know what Rone means.
Okay, very good questions. Rona, remember, Rona is to cry. Okay, and laga is nothing but you're using another irregular verbs, lagna, which we have not. Sorry, another verb called lagna, which we have not done it in this class, but you're using it in the past.
Okay.
Rone laga. He started crying. Okay.
Okay. So Ramesh was very upset. Was upset and start crying.
Yeah, started crying.
Kishore,
Yeah.
अरे रमेश तुमको क्या हुआ है? So Kishore said, hey Ramesh, I don't know how to translate. What happened to you?
Pretty good. So very good. So you did a fantastic job of translating these four. Absolutely correct. Okay. So we'll now go to Liz. You want to unmute yourself? Let me just make sure.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it. Next 3 lines.
मेरे फैसा का बहुत नुकसान हुआ है.
Mhm.
My crop suffered a big loss.
Mhm.
Right? मुझको
Yeah.
जानकर दुख हुआ.
Mhm. Give it a try.
And then क्या तुमने फैसा बीमा लिया था? Did you take crop insurance?
Okay. Did you take crop insurance? You
Huh.
want to try? Yeah. You want to give this a try? This one, this sentence. मुझको जानकर
Yeah.
दुख हुआ. Yeah.
I still don't know. I still don't
Okay.
understand that part.
Try it. Even if it is incorrect, give it a try. Let's say you don't have a choice, you just have to figure it out without any help. Take a guess.
मुझको जानकर दुख हुआ.
Hmm?
Okay. So to me,
To me, very good.
something happened. Something happened.
Something happened. What is dukh?
Right. Duk. I don't remember.
How do you, okay? How do you ask that if you don't know the meaning of something?
क्या हिंदी को दुख कहते हैं? Oh no. दुख मतलब है.
दुख का मतलब क्या है?
दुख का मतलब है.
दुख का मतलब क्या है? What is the meaning of dukh? Sadness. Okay.
Ah,
Okay. Now give it a try.
मुझको.
Hmm?
Yes, मुझको जानकर दुख हुआ.
Hmm?
It's his sadness in his life happened.
No, sadness happened to Kishore after knowing this. मुझको जानकर दुख हुआ. Remember, उनसे आपसे मिलकर खुशी हुई. Happiness happened to
Yes.
after meeting you, right? मिलकर, you're using कर there as well. Similarly, you're saying मुझको जानकर दुख हुआ. That after knowing this, I became like I'm worried, or I'm worried for you. That's what he's trying to say.
Yes.
Right?
Ah, cha. मुझको जानकर दुख हुआ. After knowing this, the sadness came to him.
Very good. Awesome.
क्या तुमने फीसा बीमा लिया था?
Hmm.
लिया था? Did you get crop insurance or did you take crop insurance?
Very good. क्या तुमने,
Uh,
this word is fasal, okay? Fasal. It may be confused as
Fasa.
fasal, which is like a name in Urdu, but
Yeah, yeah.
this is fasal, okay? Arsh, you are
Fasa.
new. I'm not gonna put you, but do you want to give it a try? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, very good. So good. So you will do the last three, okay? And don't worry if it is incorrect. You unmute yourself. Okay.
हाँ लिया होता तो तुम दुखी मत हो बीमा कंपनी तुम्हारी मदद करेगी
Start from here.
okay so हाँ लिया तो था
Mhm.
so that means yes I took out the crop insurance from
Yeah,
earlier
yeah.
then Kishore says तो तुम दुखी मत हो बीमा कंपनी तुम्हारी मदद करेगी
Mhm.
so I'm assuming that means do not be sad the crop company will or insurance company will help you.
Very good.
And last line, Tumhara bahut dhanyavad, Kishore. Thank you very much, Kishore.
Okay, well, awesome. So fantastic, right? So thanks for attempting it. Um, so for rest of the folks, as you can tell, lots of usage of Hona, in this particular story, and that was the purpose. You can say first sentence that hui, barish hui. It comes literally from what we have learned, like it rained. Okay, nuksan hua. Nuksan is loss, right? So losses happen in a way, right? Or that's why you're saying nuksan hua. Nuksan is masculine singular. Okay, if it is a profit, you can say munafa hua. Okay, and I'm gonna write it in the side munafa. 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 Okay, that's another financial term that is used. At least in the mom and dad shops, smaller shops, it is used quite commonly. Munafa. Okay, I don't know if it is used in the big shops, but definitely for small shops. Okay, nuksan hua. Similarly here, pareshan hua. Okay, pareshan is upset, right? So he became upset. Use of became or he got upset. Okay, pareshan hua. Kya hua? Again, use of hua. What happened? Tumko kya hua? Similarly, again, use of nuksan hua. Okay, and then here something again, dukh hua. He became upset or he became sad. Okay, and after that, basically, I kept the story as is, which is basically I gave it a new twist by giving you new vocabulary word, fasal bima, crop insurance. Okay, क्या तुमने फसल बीमा लिया था? So good thing to know is like you're using another verb called lena. Lena is to take, or in this case, in the past you are saying it as liya, right? Lena becomes liya, and then there's the ending with tha. So still the story is in past tense. Okay. Another interesting story, which is another thing, is like ha liya to tha. So I don't know if you noticed it. There's a use of to. Okay. To is basically to give emphasis that I did take it. Okay. um, uh, for example, you say मैं एप्पल खाता हूँ. Simple, I eat apple. Another sentence is like मैं तो एप्पल खाता हूँ. Like you're putting emphasis to that I don't know about anybody else, but I eat apple. मैं तो एप्पल खाता हूँ. Okay. So to give emphasis, there's a video for that as well. But again, हाँ लिया तो था. Next line, again you're using hona, dukhi mat ho, that don't be upset. But in this case, you're using it in terms of like giving directions to someone, or requesting or commanding. Okay, so he is pretty much commanding Kishore and telling him, don't be upset, right? Dukhi mat ho. A lot of time, this question is being asked: why are we using mat and nahi? So that also got covered in the previous class, right? So definitely check that out as well, right? I mean, and that will give you some idea about when to use mat and when to use nahi. Okay, and then the story takes a twist, and then you're using it in future indefinite. Madad karegi. Karna is the verb, but karegi is like, future indefinite. Okay. And then we're ending with Tumhara bahut dhanyawad, Kishore. So thank you so much, Kishore. Again, it's a dialogue between two farmers, Ramesh and Kishore. Okay. I hope you found it useful. And let me know if there are any questions, on the Facebook front as well, and we'll cover it. Um, just to let you guys know, I'll be out next 3 weeks. Okay, as I told you guys that I'm going to India. So even though we will not have our live class, but I'll continue to post a lot of useful material on the Facebook side from the trip, as well as any Hindi things that I'll be observing during my trip. Okay, which I think will be useful for you. So continue to post your questions. I'll also make an announcement so that some of the people may not have joined today, but they'll be looking for the class. So I'll let you guys know. So thank you so much. I'll stop the broadcasting on the Facebook site and I'll open it up for panel discussion. Here. So give me just 1 minute. So I'll unmute all of you and I'll open it up for panel discussion or questions or comments you may have. Christina, you joined a bit late, but I hope you still be able to catch up with the class. So any questions, comments? We can start with you, Agnes.
I think everything is okay. I need to work that, but I understand the way it works. So now we have to memorize all, so it's okay.
Is it better than before? Better than last class? Because last class was the first time we discussed hua, hui.
Yeah. I mean it's logical, but then we have to get used of the way it is written. But I think it's okay.
Okay. Thank you, Liz.
I'm not happy because I didn't recognize Jankar.
Jankar. No, it's okay. Don't be too hard on yourself, right? I mean, at least.
Yeah, because I really well understood this lesson. I was happy, but then I didn't realize when you wrote it, so I was not happy.
You don't be too hard on yourself, right? I mean, it happens. Right? Now you pay very close attention to kar, right? The verb is ending with kar. Right?
Yeah.
All good. Liz, you have any questions, comments?
For me or Arsh?
Yeah, you.
Sure. It was very, very good. And yes, that John Carter, I didn't remember, and then I didn't remember the word Duke, so I, just kind of thrown off with that. And then when you explain it, it's like, I knew this.
Yeah, so that's why I purposely told you to just figure it out. Let's say you don't have a choice. You just have to, read it and make sense out of it. Right? That was good.
Right?
Yeah.
It was very, very good. I do like this format, the way you have the sections of the class. Yeah. This really works out. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, it's good because it's a little bit challenging for us. It's good.
Yeah. Arsh? This class, I know you couldn't join last week. Some of it has to do with me. I didn't, I'm a last minute person, so I didn't.
Me too. I called you or sent a request yesterday, so it's also on me.
So was it too difficult for you, or you already have some?
I've been doing my own studying, so some of this was familiar. I just can't. I need to do more practice with the verb conjugations.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to know which one is which all the time.
Yeah. So for the rest of the people, Arsh, he's based in Washington, D.C. He is going to George Washington University. He's doing his studies in political science, right, Arsh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, he has some requirements, So I think we can do one of the class where we use a lot of political terms like, democracy or, communism. We can use the Hindi words for those to make it relevant for you, but also other people will also get another flavor of, of the different, political terms in Hindi. So hopefully you'll find it useful. Tell us a little bit where, you took classes somewhere else before?
No, I've been studying on my own. So I've been using websites, using books that I've had, and I've been trying to watch cartoons and small things because trying to learn from movies is a bit hard at this stage.
Yeah,
But little things like for kids is easier.
yeah.
So that's where I'm at right now.
So growing up, you just like you spoke with your parents in Gujarati or primarily or just English?
My grandparents stayed home, so I spoke Gujarati with them.
Okay.
But as I go older, you speak English more and more. So
Yeah, I mean, my son, I can see my son, right? I mean, I'll speak in Hindi and he'll respond to me in English.
oh yeah, I do that too with Gujarati.
Sometimes it's funny, like, he is very much into planets, right? So sometimes, all the shapes, right? So every weekend we are going to the museum, the planetarium, right? I mean, so he has like these small Jupiters and Mars, right? So sometimes he's like, Papa, my Jupiter gir gaya. So he'll mix it up. He's just 3.5, but like, he won't say it fell down. It's like, my Jupiter gir gaya. So you figure it out. So, well,
It's a chance to speak two languages.
what? Yeah, it is, right? I mean, so, but
It's a big chance, yeah.
yeah, so, but I enjoyed it, like him conjugating girna with gir gaya in the past form. It makes me happy that he's, at least picking it up. So, but I'll definitely miss you guys all, but we'll still try to make it a little bit engaging in a different way, so we don't break the momentum. I don't think I've taken 2 weeks off, but not like 3 weeks off in a while. So at least in the last 2.5 years since we are doing the online classes. But we'll try to make it a little bit more informative in a different way. I'll take like pictures of signs behind the trucks and where you
Good.
can read it and you can translate it. And maybe next time when you
But don't worry, we have a lot to work while you're on holidays. Huh?
what?
We have so many things to study while you're on holidays. Don't worry
Yeah.
for us. Just enjoy.
Yeah.
We have to study past and all this, so
Yeah.
it's good you give us time to work on everything else.
Yeah. But I think we're a little over, but thanks everyone. I hope you have a rest of the good, Sunday. So thanks everyone. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you and enjoy your holidays.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Your vacation.
Yeah. Bye.